Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wake Up Report. And there is sick, and there's depraved, and there is sick and depraved, and then there is beyond sick and depraved, which is like filthy sick and depraved. But Brooklyn, New York was the scene of what the country thought was a horrific act committed by 5 young black males who came across a father and his daughter in the park. The 5 men approached the young woman and proceeded to sexually assault this woman. One of them allegedly pulling the gun on the father. The father takes off running and goes to track down the cops. But by the time he gets a police officer, the girl has been sexually assaulted. And these 5 young men were apprehended shortly after that and paraded around in the media as, depraved, violent, the usual descriptives when it comes to young black males and their behavior. When the story first came out, of course, everybody was all over it. Everybody had an opinion about it. Everybody had an opinion about the young men that committed the act. And, I read as much of it as I could from different sources, major outlets, internet outlets, everything. Just something wasn't right, man. Something didn't strike me as right. So I did not do a story on it. I said, well, let me wait and see what's going to happen with this, because most fathers, if their daughters were being attacked, I don't care if it's one guy or 100 guys, you'd probably die for your child. I don't care if the guy pulls a gun out, a knife out, 2 of them pull out guns, all of them have guns. You are not going to leave your daughter to the mercy of a bunch of depraved individuals to have their way with her. Make you like the biggest coward, one of the biggest cowards on God's green earth, and not to mention the fact that, could you live with yourself after doing something like that, after bailing out on your child like that? So it just didn't seem right, and the story kind of went away until a couple of days ago, I guess, where I was and didn't know I was going to find the story, came across the acquittal of the 5 young men who allegedly raped and assaulted this girl. Well, it turns out that they did not rape and assault this girl. Now, if you look at the photographs of these 5 young men, they ain't no angels, that's for sure. And they may not have gotten in trouble for this particular act, but something tells me, we may see them in the future. Just may not be for rape or something like that. But regardless of what they might do in the future, they were found not guilty of this act, and the charges against these young men were dropped. The sick and depraved part, which is beyond sick and depraved, comes from the fact that the girl was sexually assaulted. It wasn't by those 5 guys, it was by her father. The girl in court admitted under, I guess, a intense line of questioning, not to mention the fact that there was some video of the incident. Her story didn't match up. And finally, under pressure, she finally cracked and she said that no, the boys did not rape her. I guess whatever sexual activity went on between her and the 5 guys, it was consensual. But what was also consensual was this girl apparently was having sex with her own father. And when I found out that particular bit of information, I'm like, man, see, just like I'm stumbling now, what do you say behind something like that? I know that they were drinking in the park, to which, my first when I read found out about the first story, my first question was, what type of a parent would be out drinking with their own child? To me, that's like the equivalent of sitting down getting high with your own children or something. Like, hey, sorry about that, Snoop, but it just ain't normal. But So I was like, why would, what are you doing giving your child alcohol, getting drunk with your child? Now that this has come to light, I can kind of start to piece together this sick little scenario that this bastard ass father was doing, which was probably getting his daughter drunk, so getting himself drunk so he could in fact have his way with her. I don't know, outside of this girl dropping this bombshell, the focus now, I guess, is on the father and the fact that this sick son of a bitch is a child molesting, pedophile, incest, going to hell, whatever it is you want to call him. What in the world goes on with some people? I usually have an answer, or try to come up with an answer for most of the topics that I cover. But when you get this sick and this depraved, I had an answer for 5 guys who raped a girl and ran her father off. This, I did not have an answer for it. I don't have an answer for it. How sick is society going to get before it finally pops? Before it just gets to the point to where anything goes, all bets are off, and the so-called intelligent, most intelligent of life on this planet just increasingly shows that maybe we ain't the most intelligent things on this planet, man. What do you say behind incest? Molesting your own daughter, that's just some sick ass shit, man. And this guy, I hope, I don't know what they do to molesters in prison. I know there used to be this thing where rapists, I think, and child molesters, if they got sent to prison, that was it. Even prisoners have a code. Even though prisoners, rape each other in prison, there's a line that you don't cross, and you can rape. We can rape each other in prison, but we do not rape our daughters, and we do not rape women in our families. So I certainly hope those rules still apply to whatever prison this guy is going to go to. No mercy, no sympathy. It's just absolutely disgusting. And I hope that these young men, because of the intense spotlight that was put on them a few months ago, because they were just the worst thing, what is it, the best thing since sliced bread? Well, they were the exact reverse of that saying, whatever, however it is you want to put it together. But I hope these 5 young men kind of learn their lesson. These young guys. And to have that kind of a negative spotlight put on you, to be thought of as the worst of the worst, which you would have been, you would have gotten everything, or you would have deserved everything you'd gotten had you in fact been found guilty, and if you were guilty. But because you're innocent, I hope these guys, like I said, they don't look like no angels, but I hope that something about this entire situation, maybe at least one of them, you ain't gonna reach all of them, but if one of them says, something, my behavior got me put into a situation where, had this girl stuck with her story, it would have been very hard to get out of it, and my life would have been ruined. I got a second chance at life. I got a second chance to show people that I am not the monster that they thought I was. And I hope these brothers make good on that, man. Now, if you get out there and you screw up again, hey, KTM will be right back at you with another show talking about the 5 screw-ups who had a second chance but decided to rob a bank or, shoot up a house or do something stupid. So, hey, man, take your gimme and do something with it. But as far as the father is concerned, there ain't a hole deep enough. Hell ain't hot enough. Punishment cannot be severe enough. There is nothing that can be done to this man to make him pay outside of standing before God Almighty. And maybe, I guess the best thing is not for us to judge this guy in some way, shape, or form, but when you stand before God and you have to answer to what you did to your daughter, I would like to be in that courtroom to hear that excuse so I can watch God pull the chain on the floor. The bottom will open up and you will drop so hard, so fast to hell that you will literally knock the bottom out of it. This is KTM in the Wake Up Report saying think a little bit. It will do wonders for you.